Good evening, Wixman Ray here. Saturday, May 9th, 2026. It's just flying by, isn't it? May is, yeah. Okay, still got a fairly active spring pattern going on. We're looking at our infrared satellite. Infrared measures the cloud top temperatures. So these reds and yellows and oranges, that's the colder stuff. Um, and then the greens are fairly cold, and then you get into the whites and purples, and those are not as cold. And then, of course, when it's measuring the warmer ground, you see these gray and dark colors here down over the deserts here, especially. You see them real good. So, yeah. The only reason why you're seeing that is because you're getting some of that contrast from the daytime heating. Not sure exactly why the satellite shows that, but this enhancement does that. It has nothing to do with the temperature as much as it is just the enhancement of the satellite that they have picked here. So yeah, so that's why you're seeing that. So we got looks like another little weak shortwave moving some moisture across the Pacific Northwest. There might be a little bit of precip, but I don't think there's much with it. We got a pretty good shortwave trough, pretty strong one coming out of the Rockies here from Wyoming and Colorado there with some showers, and that's what's causing this stuff out here. We still have a frontal boundary, a cold front that's developed that, so we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves, but there's a low pressure up here in Canada with a cold front that drags down through New York, Pennsylvania, and through Ohio and across all the way to Illinois and Missouri here. So we got some showers along there, maybe a thunderstorm there in Missouri, and a little bit of showers and maybe a little bit of thunder and lightning with some of that stuff in New York. But definitely down here in Kansas and Oklahoma, we got some definite thunderstorm activity. I think there's a couple severe storms out here in Oklahoma right now. Yeah, with that frontal system. And then we got some little waves back behind the front coming out of Canada, another little wave there. Kind of that same story we've seen for days and days. Here's this is that wave that was clear out here yesterday evening out over Missouri in the Midwest. That's the one I told you about. It's still causing a little bit of rain out there along parts of the East Coast, up in the Northeast, but that'll be departing probably out of there by later tonight. And then we still have this subtropical jet, and you got a what now is a shortwave trough. It was an upper low that came out of Mexico, but now it's kind of more of a trough. And you got a few thunderstorms and some showers across the south here, and a few thunderstorms back into Louisiana and Texas. There might be a couple thunderstorms back here. I can't remember what the radar was showing. So yeah, that's what we got going on. Several features, but as far as severe goes, Oklahoma is kind of the focus for today, and then for tomorrow it'll be more down and farther south. This system right here that we see developing will push this way tomorrow night, and there's a pretty good threat of severe across Texas and parts of the south there as we go into Sunday. All right, so that's our satellite view there. We'll look at our observations courtesy of the Aviation Weather Center. Um, let's do something different. We always start up there. Let's start with the Northeast. So you can see there's still some rain up there uh, near Bangor, Maine, and parts of the southern part of Maine there. That should be out of here probably sometime after midnight. It's 9:40 out there, 9:42 actually out on the East Coast, 8:42 here in the Central Time Zone where I'm at. It looks like we still got some rain, some heavier rain there near Cape Cod area, right off the coastline. So that stuff will be short-lived, but it's chilly back here, 40s and 50s. Even in New York, it's 50s. You got these showers. I think there was some lightning with this, some sporadic lightning along this cold front here that's going through New York and Pennsylvania and down points to the west of them. Um, and pretty nice south of there in the 60s this evening across the mid-Atlantic, and 60s and 70s across most of the southeast down here. You do have the rain along the Gulf Coast into southern Georgia there. It looks like mostly just rain. Looks like the thunderstorms. Yeah, there might be a few thunderstorms down here, extreme southern Louisiana. And then it looks like some stronger thunderstorms out here across southeast Texas, not too far, near the Houston area. Most of them are to the east, but you got a rogue cell out there. And pretty warm in Texas, 80s for the most part right now except for West Texas, you got a couple 90s out there, 91 in El Paso. So that's that influence of that ridge. Looks like a few showers out here in the desert Southwest, but it's so dry out there that most of this is probably virga, and maybe a little bit of light rain if this is hitting any higher elevations out here. Same thing out here in New Mexico. There might be some real light stuff hitting the ground, but it's pretty dry. So yeah, and a lot of 80s showing up. The 83 in Albuquerque, so 90 in Roswell, where the aliens like to live. I'm just messing. 102 in Phoenix. There you go. See, that ridge is building in, bringing that heat. Got upper 90s there at Barstow, California. 89 in Fresno. So yeah, so it's getting pretty warm in the Central Valley. It was probably up to 90 in some parts there during the heat of the day. Pretty windy from the off the ocean there, gusting about 30 at San Francisco. Seems to be a common theme. I don't know if that's always, if this just happens this time of year or what. Don't know much about the climate of San Francisco with the winds. Yeah, and cool at San Diego and LA in the mid to lower 60s. Nice weather to me. It's getting into the 80s in parts of Nevada here. Reno's 83. Still 75 in Elko. Real pleasant day there. And 74 in Salt Lake City. No humidity at all. It's bone dry. Their dew points are like in the teens and single digits out here. So very, very dry. Same thing up here to the north. A lot of 70s inland. Closer, Seattle's even got 68, 76 at Portland. So very nice weather. And then you got that other wave with a few showers up in Montana, a couple showers with this wave out here in Colorado and Wyoming. It looks like some pretty gusty winds. Yeah, they had oh yeah, that was almost gusting to 70. They got a severe thunderstorm warning. Yeah, you saw the gusty winds there at Akron Plains Regional. Must be a little small town out in eastern Colorado. Got some severe warnings there. Back here, we haven't even covered this part. Looks like mostly just showers, maybe a couple thunderstorms rumbling south west of Wichita in Kansas. Most of these look like showers. I mean, there could be a lightning strike here and there. This looks like it could be some thunderstorms out in Missouri rumbling around. So yeah, you got a few kind of scattered type storms and showers out there. The front's kind of running through that area. Yeah, you got the northerly winds now. It's starting to cool off into the 60s behind it. We were up in the 80s today in Kansas City. It was like 87, I think, for the high when I saw my thermometer earlier. And we get down here into Oklahoma, and you got a big line of severe thunderstorms. Got severe thunderstorm warnings out. Looks like they had a gust to over 60 miles an hour at Alva, Oklahoma, and Gage, Oklahoma had a thunderstorm. Looks like a couple more severes out there to the kind of towards the east or west of Oklahoma City, but it looks like they're moving south of Oklahoma City, most of it. A few showers out there. Yeah, so this is your active area, mostly in Oklahoma for right now, anyways. So yeah, so that's what's going on across the country there. Up in the northern plains, a little bit cooler in the 40s. Yeah, there's a few. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe some of this might be spitting rain sprinkles to the ground, but might just be clouds for the most part. A few showers over here with those waves. Got some 40s and 50s showing up, so still a little bit cool. I'll show you the temperature anomalies. That means that compares the temperature that is forecast compared to what it normally is for that time of day and that time of year. So yeah, so shows you the climatological normal compared to the actual temperature. I'll show you that here in a minute here. We haven't looked at that in a bit. All right, that's it for that. So let's look at this. So in fact, while we were talking about that, we'll just show you that real quick. Otherwise, I'll probably forget, and you guys will be like, why didn't you show us temperature anomalies? So here we go. So let's make sure we're back about where we want to be here. Okay. Okay. This is Saturday. So today, yeah, we got it's a little bit below normal, 5 to 10 degrees, almost 15 degrees below normal in Minnesota for the evening temperatures, afternoon highs across, the the Dakotas back in through Minnesota, parts of Iowa, and through the Great Lakes. So slightly below normal up in the Northeast too. And out west, we're running a good, looks like 5 to 10 above normal, a little bit higher in some spots, but generally 5 to 10. Some of them are a little bit higher out here, maybe 15 degrees above normal. So the trend out west is above normal temperatures for today. So we'll go through tomorrow. So this is through the afternoon. So yeah, you got a lot of below normal temperatures from the Midwest through the Great Lakes in the Northeast here, as we thought. Getting very much above normal out here, almost 20 to 25 degrees above normal for the highs Sunday across the good part of the West here. It's a little colder than normal back here in Texas. That's because you got that front going through and that the cloud cover and rain that's moving through there tomorrow. And then as we go into Monday, same kind of story. Still, it gets shoved over, but more to the Great Lakes in the Northeast, still below normal. A little bit below normal, where that behind that cold front that's by Monday will be shoving down towards the southeast here. Still above normal, and then above normal temperatures kind of move out into the northern plains here. And as we go through, that's all the way through Monday. So into Tuesday, yeah, that spreads through the central plains too, the above normal temperatures. Looks like on Tuesday, just slightly below normal for a good part of the south, maybe 5 to 10 degrees here and there. Maybe some are near normal. So yeah, behind that cold front, just a little bit cooler than normal for this part of the country as we go into Tuesday. So I just thought I'd show you that, kind of comparing it to what the climatological average is for this time of year. So yeah, that's what's going on with that. So we'll take a look at our forecast for the where the fronts and where the precipitation is going to be for the next several days. So this is for through tonight. The rest of tonight, we got this cold front coming out of Canada, connected to that low up in Quebec, I believe that's the province it's in right now. And the cold front's running through, New York, where we saw the rain, all the way through Illinois back here. And then, there's kind of some breaks, which we saw. And then we saw that low pressure that's developing out there in Kansas with some storms firing up down there where that severe weather's going on. And here's that stuff that was coming out of the Rockies. And that leftover stuff from that upper level trough out here across the southeast. That's probably closer to what it is now, but it kind of diminishes a little bit overnight. So as we go into Sunday, let's just look at this goes all the way through Sunday. So you can kind of see Oklahoma into Texas is going to be the focus for this front's going to shift down here, and that wave, that upper level energy that comes out of the Rockies shifts down here. So we're going to see showers and thunderstorms across the south here. And that'll extend up into maybe southern Missouri, Arkansas, back into Mississippi and Louisiana, and even back farther to the east, there could be some spotty showers or maybe even a thunderstorm or two, and some stuff over Florida too. Here's the remnants of that front, a few spotty showers, maybe an isolated thunderstorm from the mid-Atlantic through Kentucky, you know, as it extends towards southern Missouri and Arkansas. And you can see the front's kind of running through Maine by tomorrow evening, so it's another wet day up across the Northeast. And here's that other system that moved out in the ocean there. So that's the main players, is this thing and the remnants of this front here. As we go through the day, so that's Monday night, so it looks good, like it gets, or not, Sunday night, it gets pretty active across the south here for thunderstorms, and that's where that severe threat is. Maybe even ongoing thunderstorms through Monday morning. As we go through the day on Monday, more thunderstorms fire up, mostly along the Gulf Coast, but we'll see a chance of showers from the mid-Atlantic all the way through the southeast and extending even into East Texas a little bit anyways. There might be a few leftover showers. And then we see this next storm that's developing up in Canada. That's our next major weather thing that's going to at least affect parts of the northern half of the U.S. as we get later in the week here. So as we go into, this is Monday night. So this thing will be gone by Tuesday. Midday, morning time, it's starting to move offshore, maybe some lingering stuff across Florida, but that thing's pretty much gone. Bye-bye. And then we see this bringing in some rain across to Minnesota and Wisconsin as we go into Tuesday morning and Tuesday midday, and that starts coming into Michigan. And then as we go through the day, we'll see some showers and thunderstorms develop, you know, across Illinois down to Missouri and eastern Kansas, and probably even down close to Oklahoma there by Tuesday night. So that's our next major front. Really dry out west. It'll get warming up. You do see some showers trying to pop up because we've got a little upper level system kind of trying to undercut the ridge. I might show you that here in a minute if I remember. If not, forgive me. And then last but not least, still some lingering showers and storms across mainly southern Florida on Tuesday night and afternoon. As we go through the day on Wednesday, that's where we'll wind this thing up. So this thing moves up towards the northeast, not quite there yet, but over the Great Lakes, and then spins up some showers and thunderstorms from New York down through Pennsylvania and down along the East Coast into the Carolinas. So maybe some showers and thunderstorms on Wednesday afternoon, evening out that way. And then we start seeing more precip developing out west with that system, the upper level system that's coming up from the south through California and Nevada up into here. So yeah, so no big severe outbreaks. Tomorrow's probably our best chance over the next 3 to 4 days for right now. We'll see what this system brings when this front develops. That might have some severe weather with it, but it looks like it's starved for moisture. I don't see any kind of open Gulf whatsoever, so those probably won't be. If there is a severe, it'd be very isolated at best. So that's my take on it. So if I don't see the Gulf open, then you're going to be hard pressed to see any kind of widespread severe weather at least. So I did promise to show you the vorticity, the upper level, and I'm just going to zip through this real quick, and give you the overall pattern. So the overall deal is you got this trough of lower pressure across from, you know, North Dakota, Minnesota, back through the Great Lakes and extending through the Northeast with waves. This is your main one here, right there, and another one coming out of Canada. And then this is that system that's exiting that short wave that's moving out. Here's that remnants of that low, the short wave back in Texas and Louisiana here. Here's the next big one that's creating the low down here tomorrow and the thunderstorm complex. And then you got the whole kind of broad ridge here with these little waves trying to, you know, come over the top and break it down a little bit. So that'll keep the heat going for the west for the next few days. So as we go through time, so this is through 24 hours. So we see that system coming on to the northwest. So they might it'll cool it down a little bit up in Washington, maybe up into Portland a little bit, probably a little bit of precip up here and clouds. But the ridge is, rocking pretty good. That's why we start seeing a warm up here too, parts of the plains here as we go through early next week, and even on Sunday it may start to warm up a little bit back here. So yeah, so we got that ridge of high pressure back here and the low pressure out here in parts of the northeastern half of the country. And then this is that wave that's supporting all those thunderstorms tomorrow across the south. So those are the three main features. Going through Monday, this system moves through the southeast with showers and thunderstorms down there, like we talked about. That's our next big weather producer that'll come in on Tuesday. That's zipping, it started out there near Washington and now it's zipping over that ridge. But look, the ridge is really strong, so that means it's going to be hot over New Mexico, Arizona, in Southern California, and even the plains will start getting in on some of the heat as we go into Monday. Still cool back here and unsettled across the northeast. And this is why it's going to be a little cooler than normal back here too into the southeast because of this dip in the jet stream down here. We got that northwesterly flow bringing cooler air from the north down there. So as you go through Tuesday, so this first little low pressure exits, and then this one kind of will just reinforce that whole main trough and bring another shot of cold air. And you can see this whole area is going to be cooler than normal as you go into Wednesday back through here, through the Midwest and the eastern third of the country. The ridge will kind of be affecting the plains here still, and then you see this low pressure, so it's going to start cooling a bit into parts of Nevada and the northwest and along California as that trough moves onshore, and that's bringing that precipitation, probably some thunderstorms too. So that's what's going on in the upper levels, and that's why you see what you see on the surface charts. So, yep. And that's the driver of the warm and the cold air, is these ridges of high pressure and these troughs of low pressure. So you heard it from Wixman right here. So once you start recognizing these kind of patterns, you can be a pretty good forecaster. You just look at this upper level chart. You don't even need your surface chart. You can almost guess where the storms are going to be for the most part, within 90-95% accuracy for most of the time. So anyways, that's all I've got to say about that. I'm not going to show you anything more. I've kind of gone on about a few things. Maybe I've taught you one or two things today, but that's the whole purpose of this channel, is not only to give you a little 3 to 4 day weather forecast, but kind of educate you about meteorology. Think of this as a meteorology 101 course as we're forecasting. So, yep. This is kind of how I learned, so back in the day, this was back in the early 90s, around actually 1990. So I think it was Eastern Illinois University. I think that was the name of the university. Forgive me if that's not it, but it was one of those universities out there in Illinois, and I think it was called Eastern Illinois. They used to do a morning, what do you call it, like weather, kind of what I'm doing, similar, but they covered a little bit more in depth for meteorologists to kind of see what the overview for the day is. So they would cover all the upper level charts, like at 500 millibars, like this chart right here, this chart I just showed you. They would show us the 300 millibar, which is usually where the jet stream is or close to that level. And then they would go down to 700 millibars, which is roughly about 10,000 feet, 10 to 12,000 feet above the sea level, and show you what's going on in the middle part of the atmosphere with that. And then they would show you the 850 level millibar, which is approximately about 5,000 feet above sea level. So out west, in many areas that's below ground or near the surface, like in Denver or even Elko, where they're 5,000 feet. So the 850 level didn't work good for the Rockies, but east of the Rockies, it was real useful. So yeah, they would go through all these different what they called upper air charts, what we call them, and then they would go through the forecast and whatnot, and kind of like what I'm doing, but a little more detailed. So yeah, but that's how I learned back when I was a young boy. I was a young man actually. I was in my 20s. I was probably about 23, 24 when I started doing weather. Yeah, in 1990 I was about 24. Yeah, right around when I turned 24, I started this career, and I'm 59 now, so I've been doing this for 35 years. So been a while. All right, that's enough about my story, and I just thought I'd tell you how they used to do things. And they used to broadcast that like on, I don't know if it was like on PBS, but we used to pick it up every morning for we would do it as our weather briefing it was like at 8 or 9 a.m. This was when I was in the military. So that to me was like probably the best weather overview I've ever seen in my life. And these were just a bunch of students doing this, meteorology students. So yeah. So we used to watch that, and kind of got our brains focused on the what's going on for the day for weather, and it would be the CONUS focus. CONUS, which stands for the continental United States. So if you didn't know what that meant, but so anyways, that's just some terminology that I use a lot. But all right, hey, I'm getting a little long-winded here. I appreciate y'all. Please like and subscribe if you like this stuff. Please tell others about this. Let your kids know about this, if they need to have some sort of science project, or, if they need to write a paper on something for a class, especially if it's science related, tell them to watch my channel, give them some ideas. Maybe they'll learn a thing or two and they can put into their paper, because I'm a real meteorologist. I'm not a fake one, you know. I could show you my degree one day if you want. But I am a I am I am a meteorologist. I'm a degreed meteorologist to be professional. So I got a master's degree actually. So yeah. So I went above the bachelor's level and presented a thesis as my master's theme back when I went to Creighton University, which no longer now has a meteorology program. That kind of fizzled out back in the 2000s, I believe, probably after 2010. I don't remember the exact year, but anyways, yeah. So I'm still talking, right? Anyways, hey, I appreciate y'all, and please share this with your children, your grandkids, and let them know about weather. Encourage them to be into the science and technology field. They call it STEM. Especially the females. There's always a lack of females in this field. I think that's because females tend to gravitate towards other careers, maybe healthcare careers, or I don't know. There's different things that maybe they're not always interested in science and math, which is heavily focused on the sciences, math and science. Well, yeah. There's a lot of math involved with the sciences, so. Anyways, hey, I'm going on and on, so appreciate y'all. This is Wixman Ray out.